This is a story that's rooted in the entire geopolitic of the globe. We all have a stake in this story. It affects all of us. This is a huge migration of people from the Middle East into Europe. It begins in conflict. It begins, for a vast number of people making the journey, it begins in Syria. And it begins in the rubble of Aleppo. This photo is symbolic of the migrant journey. You can see from the picture that everything they own is in a plastic bag. Fractionally before dawn has struck, this is a secret crossing. They've dodged the Coast Guard to get there. They've made a crossing across open sea. People that have taken their lives in their hands in a boat that is really little more than a child's toy. It's little more than something you'd play with in a swimming pool. You certainly would never contemplate crossing open water with a pair of plastic paddles. You can see the expression in the man's face as he comes ashore. It tells you everything you need to know about it. You were lucky as a photographer to be able to photograph this activity happening. For Dan, it was a question of staying out all night, watching for it, waiting for it, hoping that he might get lucky on a particular beach. Some of the most dramatic imagery comes from areas where people are assembling, waiting to get on trains, waiting to get on buses. The Hungarians ceased running trains from towards Austria. And they were asked at the time, what are you going to do? There are no trains, there are no buses. Almost unanimously, they turned around and said, then we walk. And they set off and they started walking down the motorway. Coverage of this story makes you take your hat off to photographers. When you send them out into the wilds and they have to rely on their own wits. If the migrants are climbing through windows to squeeze onto a train, the only way the photographer is going to get to the next leg of the journey is to get onto the same train. Just when you think this story has unfolded, it will produce an image that you never foresaw. It is such a simple picture of a child face down in the surf on the beach, and it could be anyone's. Nobody puts their tiny children, their wives, their husbands, their mothers, their fathers into little plastic boats and sets to sea if it is safer not to. And I think that was the fundamental fact that started to resonate after this picture was published. Because I think it genuinely changed the way both people and subsequently politicians actually thought about what was happening. As journalists, we should be putting it in front of as many people as possible and asking them to make that judgment, to look inside themselves and ask why people are making this journey. As human beings, I think it is incumbent on all of us to make up our own minds about where we stand on this issue. If coverage allows people to formulate their own opinions about it, then I think we're doing our job properly.